Welcome back once again for another episode of Pretty Petty the Podcast. I'm your pretty but sometimes petty host, Tito Alvin, and in this podcast, pag-uusapan natin ang mga trending issues, hottest topics, and everything pretty and petty. Kung first time mo dito, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button and then click nyo yung notification bell para notified ka for new episodes. If you're listening naman to Spotify, you can follow our podcast in Spotify by going back to the main page and then click nyo yung follow button. Also, you can catch me on our social media pages in Facebook, Instagram, and in TikTok by going to the link you see at the bottom of your screen or just go to linktr.ee/prettypettythepodcast. Now, for this week, meron muna akong isang katanungan para sa inyong lahat. Naniniwala ba kayo na there should be an absolute separation of church and state? Okay, yan ang pag-uusapan natin this week. Current topic ngayon sa states, ang isang bill na sinabmit sa Congress and sa Senate about requiring public schools to put posters containing the Ten Commandments. Okay, yung ibang states sa US, pinas na yung law na yan. Pero yung ibang state naman, they are opposing this law kasi isa daw itong paglabag sa US Constitution, specifically yung separation ng church and ng state. Okay. Ngayon, kung hindi pa kayo aware, sa Pilipinas, meron din ganyan. Okay? Meron ding clause sa Constitution natin that separates the state and the church. Okay, makikita yan sa Article 2, Section 6 ng Bill of Rights. Ibig sabihin, hindi dapat makialam ang simbahan on how the government or yung pamahalaan natin do its job at vice versa. Okay? Pero dito sa Pilipinas, meron tayong tinatawag na benevolent neutrality. Ibig sabihin, yung mga religious groups, they are free to do any religious activities basta hindi ito lumalabag sa batas and hindi sila sira o nakakatapak sa karapatan ng ibang tao. Okay, so yan yung tinatawag na benevolent neutrality. Pero, ang tanong dito ay, dito sa Pilipinas, meron nga ba talagang separation ang church at ang state? Okay, na-exercise ba itong separation na to dito sa bansa natin o medyo may gray area ang state at ang church? Okay, ang simpleng sagot ko dyan, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Okay, bakit sometimes? Okay, may mga pagkakataon na makikita mo yung clear separation ng church and state, pero may mga moments, may mga instances na parang nagmimix na yung dalawa. Parang hindi mo na alam kung sino ba talaga yung namamahala. Yung church ba o yung state? Basta ganun. Okay? Merong may mga bagay na malakas ang paniniwala ng church kaya minsan yung government natin hindi makausad sa mga laws na gusto na lang ipasa kasi nga it's against religious teachings. Yung mga ganyan. Okay? Isa sa mga na-research kong examples kung saan clear ang separation ng church and state is nung 2012 nung pinasa ang reproduction health law. Okay. Nung pinag-uusapan yan sa Congress at sa Senate, sobrang pagtutol ng Catholic Church against this bill, yung reproductive health bill. Ito yung law kung saan binibigyan ng support yung mga health centers na magbigay ng mga contraceptives. Kumbaga, may malawakang information drive about reproductive health and yung paggamit ng contraceptives to minimize population growth. Parang ganyan. So, matindi ang pagtutol ng Catholic Church about this law kasi according to them, it's against sa teaching ng Bible. Ang sabi kasi ng church, using contraceptives is quote-unquote somewhat evil. Kasi according to the Bible, no, having sex should be open to the possibility of procreation and union. And yung use ng contraceptive methods like condom, IUD, and whatnot, it violates this natural law. Gets nyo ba? So, dahil pinipigilan, dahil ang sex is, or ang sex ay simbolo ng procreation and stuff like that, using contraceptives, parang hinaharang niya yung procreation part. Gets nyo ba? So, yung natural law ng procreation ay nawawala dahil sa mga contraceptives. Kaya ayaw gawing batas ng Catholic Church itong reproductive health bill noon. Ngayon, kung madalas kayong magsimba, di ba? Ewan ko kung sinasabi to noon I'm not sure. Pero sa pelikula kasi, pag may pare at patapos na yung mass, laging sinasabi is, humayo kayo at magparami. Di ba? Kasi nga, the church is always for procreation. And hindi naman yan sinabi basta-basta lang ng mga pare. At least in the movies. Kasi nasa Bible din naman yan. Genesis 1:28 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Genesis 1:28. Sinabi dyan na yung linyang yan. So, kaya siguro sa mga pelikula, sinasabi ng pare yan, humayo kayo at magparami. Pero ngayon alam ko hindi na ginagamit yan. Hindi na sinasabi yan eh. Pero ang point ko dito is, the church believes that sexual intercourse should be open to the possibility of giving birth, procreation, and hindi dapat yan pinipigilan. Pero, Tito Alvin, hindi man pwedeng sex lang ng sex tapos hindi mabubuntis. Diba? Kumbaga, kasunod na yan nun kapag nag-sex kayo, may possibility mabuntis, diba? And kung hindi naman kayang palakihin yung bata, paano yun? Paano yung population growth? Baka sobrang lumobo yung population ng Pilipinas. Well, ang suggestion ng church dyan is wag makipag-sex kung ayaw makabuo. Which is, to be honest, totoo naman, di ba? Kung ayaw makabuo, wag ka makipag-sex. Pero, realistically speaking, parang medyo tagilid tayo dyan. Parang hindi man nangyayari in real life. So, despite the contradiction of the Catholic Church, the Philippine government still pushed through with the bill that eventually was passed into a law. Yan, yung Reproductive Health Law, RH Law. So dyan, clear yung separation ng church and state. Kumbaga, nakapasa tayo ng batas for the common good of everybody without being interfered by the church. Pero, if you think that our government has that clear judgment when it comes to the separation of church and state, medyo tagilid tayo ng very, very light, no? Kasi there has been a lot of bills that has been passed in Congress or in Senate na hindi makausad, hindi makaprogress kasi we are blurring the lines between church and state. Okay? Just take a look, for example, yung Absolute Divorce Bill. Okay, meron akong separate episode about Absolute Divorce Bill. Siguro lagay ko na lang yung link sa description box below. The Philippines is the only country apart from the Vatican City who doesn't have divorce. Okay? Hindi maipasa-pasa into law yung divorce bill na yan. Kasi maraming religious groups ang nag-oppose, ang hindi agree sa divorce bill. Yung mga lawmakers natin doesn't want to pass this bill because they are saying na we are a Christian nation and it violates the teaching of the church, it violates the sacredness of marriage, yung mga ganyang klaseng linyahan. So dyan pa lang, clearly, alam mong walang separation ang church and state. Kahit sabihin mong meron namang matibay na evidence that beneficial ang divorce to some and to married couples na hindi na nag-working marriage nila. Pero hindi, they will turn a blind eye because again, the church is against it, or we are a Christian, quote-unquote Christian nation, and it's against Christian teachings. Pero ang ironic kasi dito, yung country na Spain na nagdala ng Christianism dito sa bansa natin nung panahon ni Magellan. Ang bansang Spain, even though highly Catholic country sila, meron silang divorce. 'Di ba? It doesn't make sense. Hindi ko magets bakit ang Spain, which is highly a Catholic country, may divorce, pero tayo wala. Samantalang sila naman nagdala ng Catholicism dito. Anyway, ito ang theory ko regarding sa mga lawmakers natin kung bakit medyo nahirapan tayong i-progress yung mga ganitong klaseng bill like absolute divorce bill, yung mga same-sex union, yung mga ganyan. Feeling ko kasi, they don't want to be on the bad side of these religious groups. Kasi kapag kinalaban nila yung church, quote-unquote church o yung mga religious groups na to, these groups will stop supporting these candidates, these politicians, and it will reflect negatively sa votes pagdating ng election. Di ba nga, usong-uso yung mga politiko nililigawan yung mga church, mga different religions. Kasi nga, doon sila kumukuha ng mga boto nila minsan. Kapag in-endorse ng isang religious group ang isang kandidato, medyo palya-palya ka lang sa eleksyon. Di ba? So, these lawmakers doesn't want to make any move that will be under the bad graces of these religious groups kasi magkakaroon ng negative impact yan sa pangalan nila pagdating ng eleksyon. Now, speaking of voting in elections, isa pa sa nakikita kong blurred line pagdating sa separation ng church and ng state is yung pag-announce ng mga i-endorse na kandidato ng mga religious groups. Okay, wala akong sinisingle out na religion dito ha. Okay, merong isang sikat na nag-i-endorse ng mga kandidato pero hindi lang naman sila, meron ding ibang mga religious groups na nag-i-endorse ng mga kandidato nila. And some of these religious groups are known for their block voting. Okay? At the end, this is just me. Okay? I know they have their reasons why they are doing that, yung block voting. I totally respect their reasons behind that. Pero ako, ito ang theory ko. Okay, just hear me out. If they want to endorse a candidate, someone, a politician, please, wag na natin gawing public. Okay? Keep it within the congregation. Keep it within the group na lang. Okay? No one is stopping them to endorse a candidate. No one is stopping them to tell their group, their people na i-block vote natin tong kandidatong to. No one is stopping them to do that. Pero wag na natin gawing public kung sino yung ini-endorse nila. Okay? That way, we can still maintain the separation between church and state. Right? Kumbaga, the government will do their thing, you, the church, will do your own thing. The moment kasi that you went public with your endorsement, that will become a spectacle. It's a public spectacle. Uy, yung gatong religion, in-endorse si ganyan, in-endorse si ganyan. Ngayon magkakaroon na ng sort of like mind conditioning yung mga tao and stuff like that. And worst, this is going to be weaponized by politicians. Paano? So ngayon, these politicians, dahil nga block voting yung mga ginagawa ng ibang religion, they want to be under the good graces of these religions, of these religious groups. So they will stop or they will prohibit or they will delay making laws na sa tingin nila ay hindi sang-ayon ang church na to. Kahit sabihin mong magbe-benefit ang sobrang daming tao, kung against ang church sa ganitong klaseng law or ganitong klaseng bill, hindi nila ganong bibigyan ng priority yan. Okay? They will just create laws that is totally disconnected from the church, or they will create a law that will satisfy the good graces of these religious groups. So ngayon, asan ang separation dun? Di ba? Where's the separation in that? Imbis na yung mga lawmakers natin iniisip or pinaprioritize ang kapakanan ng mga taong bayan regardless of their religion, race, and status, hindi. Meron silang hidden agenda. Oy, wait, sandali lang. Parang yung pangalan ko sa next term, sa next election, baka hindi ako i-endorse ng religion na to. So, again, that's just my theory. Posibleng mali ako, pero feeling ko tama ako. Okay. Now, tungkol naman dun sa nangyayari sa US, yung bill na nagre-require na i-post yung Ten Commandments sa mga public schools. Hindi ko sure kung issue yan sa Pilipinas. Feeling ko hindi naging issue yan eh. Ang nakita kong issue and based on my research was way back 1965. There was a bill that was proposed which was called Religious Instruction Bill. Okay? And this was backed by the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? Ang sabi ng bill na to, it would allow teachers to teach religion in public schools. Okay? Pero hindi yan nagtuloy-tuloy because it was opposed by the INC. So parang yan lang yata yung nakita kong somewhat connected sa nangyayari sa states dito sa Pilipinas. Now, dito sa sitwasyon ng Philippines, sa mga public schools dito sa Pilipinas, hindi ko sure kung may mga religious posters ba or mga Ten Commandments na nakalagay sa mga public schools. Kung may alam kayo, kung alam niyo yung school na to ay may mga ganyang klaseng posters, ganyan. Comment nyo na may alam kayo. Hindi ka naman sila papaklose. Wala akong powers para gawin yun. Comment nyo lang. Kung malay mo, malaman nila. Pero kasi ang alam ko, wala. Walang mga ganyang posters. Kasi di ba nga, yung dating DepEd Secretary, pinatanggal lahat ng posters sa mga classrooms. Kahit nga yung mga educational materials, pinatanggal, di ba? So, what more? Yung mga religious materials, more or less, wala din yun. Pero personally, I believe that public school system should be free from any religious affiliations. Una, public schools or schools in general are a place of learning. It's not a place of worship. Okay? If you want to learn more about your religion, you have your church for that. Also, yung public schools, it's a place where children of different walks of life goes into. Right? Wala namang specific na religion ng requirement para pumasok ka sa isang public school. So, pwede kang INC, pwede kang Jehovah's Witness, pwede kang born again, pwede kang Catholic, pwede kang mag-enroll sa isang public school. So, a public school being affiliated to a certain religion, kung saan may mga estudyanteng hindi naman belong sa religion na yon, it doesn't make sense. Also, if you want your kids to be taught religion, may mga specific schools naman for that. May mga Catholic schools, okay? Alam ko sa Mindanao, mayroon na rin mga Muslim schools. So, doon yung sila i-enroll. Dito Alvin, di ba meron namang subject sa school na GMRC, tsaka, values education. Actually, may naging issue na rin yan dati. Ang alam ko kasi, nawala yung values education subject na yan for quite some time. Kasi, in some schools, yung mga lessons ng values education ay may Roman Catholic undertones. So, hindi siya generic. May somewhat Catholic yung teachings. Kaya parang hindi balance. Technically hindi balance, parang hindi tama. Kaya wala yung values education for quite some time. Pero binalik yan noong 2020, pero nirevise na ata nila yung curriculum or yung agenda nung subject. Anyway, balik tayo. Isa pa sa mga thoughts ko is yung public schools, these are funded by the government and based sa Bill of Rights. Babasahin ko sa inyo. No public money or property shall be appropriated, applied, paid, or employed directly or indirectly for the use, benefit, or support of any sect or church. So, if the school is indirectly teaching Catholicism by means of nilalagay sa mga subjects, putting up posters, and at the same time, the government is funding these institutions. So again, parang fina-fund ng gobyerno na turuan yung mga bata ng Catholicism, which is against Bill of Rights, which is a clear example ng walang separation ang church at ang state. Ito, side story lang. Hindi ko alam kung nakwento ko na to before. So, nag-high school ako sa New Era University. And to be fair naman sa New Era, wala namang mga religious materials sa schools, sa mga classrooms. Puro mga educational materials lang naman. Pero meron ako isang teacher ng social studies dati na medyo questionable ang teaching methods. So, establish natin yung scenario. Sa classroom namin of 30 plus students, 4 or 5 lang kaming non-INC. The rest INC na. Itong teacher na to, meron siyang student teachers, 3. 2 of which Catholic, isa INC. So one day, siguro tinamad siyang tinamad siyang magturo, naisipan niyang ilagay kaming lahat sa isang debate. Isang religious debate. INC versus Catholics. Ganyan. Parang which is better. So, malamang, 30 plus students, 4 or 5 lang kami, di kuyog yun. Di ba? So, medyo naawa ako dun sa student teacher namin kasi siya na lang yung sumasagot in behalf of us 4 or 5 students. So, ang nangyayari, mangiyak-nyak na siya. Halos parang, kasi parang sinisigaw na siya ng mga estudyante eh. Na, ba't ganyan yung religion nyo? Blah, 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 blah. So, medyo baliw lang yung teacher para isubject kaming lahat sa ganung klaseng activity. Pero don't get me wrong I'm not against the religion, I'm not against the school, I'm not against the students at that time. What angers me, now that I'm thinking about it, is that religion was weaponized by this teacher pitting us students against each other. That time could have been used for learning, could have been used for a more productive way. Pero hindi. It was used to stir the pot. By the end of the day, lahat kami walang natutunan. And at the expense of one emotionally vulnerable student teacher who has her faith questioned by students nonetheless. So if you are a non-sectarian school or a public school for that matter, please stick with the curriculum and stay away from religion. If you're a parent and you want your kids to learn religion, okay, enroll them in a sectarian school or bring them to church regularly and learn religion there. Okay, so medyo mahirap for us to be progressive in this kind of situation, no? Lalo na hindi malinaw ang separation ng church and state. A lot of this situation will be coined to the fact that our country was colonized by Spain for 333 years. That is 3 centuries under the Spanish government, which was heavily influenced by the Catholic Church. No wonder, sobrang ingrained na sa culture natin yung ganito, na medyo nagmimix ang religion sa government. Kasi noon pa lang ganyan na ang case. Pero hindi porket yan na nakagawian natin, dapat na lang natin tanggapin. The church and state are 2 different bodies of organization. They should never mix. They can support each other, but they should never mix. Hindi dapat pinipigilan ng isang entity ang trabaho ng kabila. There should be a clear separation between church and state. So kayo, ano sa tingin nyo? Dapat bang may separation ang church and state? Let me know your thoughts by submitting your comments down below. Okay, so diyan ko natitigilan to, kahibang kong to. Okay, if you like this episode, please give us a like, give us a share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button, then clicking yung notification bell. Sa Spotify, follow nyo ako dyan, click nyo yung follow button. You can go to our social media pages in Facebook, Instagram, and in TikTok by going to the link you see at the bottom of your screen or go to linktr.ee/PTPettyThePodcast. If you're a brand looking for partnership and collaboration, feel free to send me an email at prettypettythepodcast@gmail.com. And with that, lagi nating tatandaan to always stay pretty at wag maging petty. Bye!